don't have.
Right.
And come to find out, everything seemed to work, but what was happening was the voltage regulator on the charging circuit had lost the ground, and so it just charged it until the thing burnt itself to bits.
Oh,
Even
shit.
though it all worked, it was just the wire. The wire had lost connection.
Yeah, just one bad ground, and
yeah, put the wire back and had to get another battery because the second one had smoked, or not real actual literal smoke, but been overcharged to death.
Yeah, I had back in '95. I had special ordered a Neon GT Sport Coupe that I had the limiter taken out, and I had a special alarm in it, and I had the overcharge chip on it. Thing was built for racing, and it ate batteries. I had to put a brand new battery in it every 6 to 12 months.
Wow.
Yeah, from the day I drove it off the lot to the day I got rid of it, that sumbitch would go through a battery every 6 to 12 months, like clockwork.
Were you racing it? Did it have enough time on to recharge? Or
oh yeah,
no,
that was my daily car. I drove that back and forth. I just special ordered it because I could, and yeah, no, that was my daily driver. I would drive from Gresham to Beaverton every day. And yeah, that car, I swear to God, that thing was a piece of shit. But yeah, so never again will I own a Dodge vehicle. The days of Dodge being decent are long past us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Corey is in limbo because they're in the process of moving to their new apartment, and in the interim, I guess he's staying with a friend in between apartments. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure what went on with that whole situation. But anyways, so he's not going to be here. He said he should be able to play after the 11th. So right. I guess next week. And Josh is still sick. So he's taking his meds and trying to get better. So it is just us tonight. So, before we get started, do we have any traction on knowing if we were going to do the live session on the 22nd or that weekend?
I personally will not be able to come up.
Okay.
I was hoping to make it happen, and I just can't afford it.
Okay.
So I will zoom into whatever I can, but I can't come up right now.
So did you guys still want to do it, or do we want to postpone it a little bit?
So I don't know if that would work for us that weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember talking about it.
Yeah, I posted about it a couple of times. It was always up in the air. We can discuss it further and pick a different weekend. That's fine with me. I do have another Vetland for the VFW coming up in June. I believe that's the weekend of June 10th through 12th, I want to say. But that won't affect you guys. That'll affect our Saturday game, though. But beyond that, my schedule is pretty open. I do have a birthday coming up on June 1st, but I don't have any major plans for, Memorial Day weekend or the weekend after that. I'm sure we'll find something to do. But yeah, that could work as well. So we will discuss that and figure out a weekend that works. And maybe we can set it off enough in the future that Carrie can make it. But I mean, we can always email her, whatever we're eating, pictures of it.
Rub it in.
Yeah, because I will definitely, we'll break out the smoker and do some barbecue. So, welcome to Pirates of Drinax. We will be picking up where we left off last week. If you're watching on Twitch, scroll down. You should see some tiles there. If you don't see the tiles, click on my profile image. Those tiles should pop up for you. Each of those tiles will take you to one of these fine people's websites. And tonight, we would like to thank Dogmight Games. Dogmight Games makes beautiful wooden hardware for your tabletop role-playing games, such as DM screens, dice vaults. The player pad is especially nice. They've got dice towers and just a plethora of items. All of the items can be customized. When you order, a customized item usually ships within 6 to 8 weeks from order date. If you just want something super fast and you don't have a whole lot of great ideas for your own customization, you can go to their in-stock items, and they have a bunch of things that they've generated that are in there. And those items generally ship within 2 to 3 days from purchase time. If you are wanting to purchase for them, you came to the right place. If you we have a code for 10% off once you make your order. If you go to your cart, you can put in the code FRIEND in all capital letters, and you will get 10% off your order. And that's good for everything on their site. If you're a fan of our Wednesday Night Traveler games, we do have a website via Obsidian Portal. The adventure log is written in the manner of Traveler News Service articles. And it doesn't just follow the shenanigans of our players as they pillage their way across the Trojan Reach. It more or less takes in the entire region, and so some of the news articles may indirectly affect the travelers in their weekly adventures. If you like the page, please give us a thumbs up. We enjoy seeing more people giving us fan likes, and we hope you enjoy the content. So where we left off last week, you guys were you had just scuttled the yacht. I forget the name of the yacht. I have it here, though. Starlight Voyager. That was its name. And the captain and his crew, and they came over to your ship. They're interested in possibly joining crews to be pirates. And also, they have one nobleman that is essentially your prisoner. I mean, you can ransom him, you can do what you would like with him, but you scuttle their ship, and you are in the process of landing on Oghma, which is an ice world. Now, Oghma is home to the Oghman Raiders that are basically techno-barbarians. That the Raiders gain influence amongst the different tribes. They gain influence by however many jump-capable ships a Raider rides, and that's how they kind of set their ranking structure and hierarchy. So these chieftains usually have many ships under them crewed by raiders. You have been contacted by the chieftain named Hannigan, and he has given you a docking code to dock at his private facility, and will provide transport to his lodge. His private facility is at the Jadeko starport. And this is the weird thing about Oghma. You've got these barbarians, and then sitting on the planet is a Class B starport. It's a really nice facility that Jadeko has built. And they don't have any problems with the Raiders, because the Raiders are smart enough to know to not attack a Jadeko starport. That would be suicide. And they have this weird relationship with the Raiders. And so, Ching Shi, go ahead and make a piloting check, piloting plus dex check.
9.
Okay, so you're coming in, no problem. Who's operating sensors?
Probably me.
Should be Carl.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're good at it.
Oh, okay, go for it.
So,
Whatever.
Bjorn, go ahead and make a electronic sensors plus your choice, either intellect or education.
Alrighty. Looks like a 13.
Okay, so with your 13, you see a couple of different things. The first thing is, if you remember, when you were coming into the planet, 2 ships had launched. One of them, the raider, or the Chieftain Hannigan, once you had finally broken through onto his private channel, he had ordered that other ship to stay away, or those ships to stay away, and one of them did turn back. But another one has been coming around the far side of the planet and is going to try and intercept you as you make it to the dock. The other thing that you notice with your sensor check is that there is an electromagnetic power signature of significant proportions activating on the surface of the planet. Probably about 5 to 10 kilometers northeast of the starport. And it's not like, an electromagnetic signature that you would see from like a nuke going off. This is a pinpoint, a very bright pinpoint on your sensors. Like it looks like a weapon powering up.
Okay, so this is not a flash. It's something is drawing a whole lot of power.
Correct.
And increasing.
Correct.
And our current trajectory does cross over it or gets closer or further away with.
Make a intellect check, and I will tell you. Make it intellect plus. Do you have anything like gunnery turret?
Actually, no. I just have gunner.
Okay. Go ahead and make a intellect plus gunner check.
I don't know how to do the 2. I can do an intellect. I see. Do a gunner check, but modified with intellect.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that didn't change anything. And click the button. Bam. Looks like a 9.
Okay. So you're suspecting that this is a modified spinal mount weapon that has been buried in like a ice shelf, and you suspect that this is a railgun that is powering up. Your sensors are not detecting that there's any kind of sensor lock on the Capri Sun. So it's clearly not aiming at you.
I will share that quickly with the rest of the crew.
Okay.
So they're going to shoot down the other ship then, I assume. Do we need to move out of the way at all? Or we're okay? Probably.
Pull up from the debris field that we anticipate.
Yeah. I am Captain Dayquil this time, just so everybody I'd be a little fancier than normal, so watch out.
So, Ching Shi, you see, as you're coming into this spaceport, you see a bright flash on the horizon. Make a piloting check. Piloting plus dex check.
13.
Excellent. You see this bright flash on the horizon, and you veer just in time to see what looks like blue rings and a contrail fly past the ship. Like many, many times, many hundreds of times the speed of sound. And then about your external speakers later, by about probably a good 3 to 4 seconds, your external speakers register the sound of the crack of a gigantic cannon going off. And Bjorn, on the sensors, you see this railgun shot fly right past and cleanly miss the Capri Sun. And behind to your aft, you see this other ship completely torn up. In one shot, he did 60 points of damage. And this was an old Type R fat trader, and this fat trader is just smoking and immediately starts to dive towards the surface of the planet.
So we need to figure out who owns that gun and not make them mad.
So then, Keith Clark, I'm assuming you're still doing communications. A radio message comes in from the longhouse of Chief Hannigan, and you can hear Hannigan's voice on the comm say, "Well, I took care of those interlopers. We don't need anybody interrupting our conversations before you even get here."
Aw, they have such great customer service here. Now what are we going to be stuck doing for them? Good question.
Bjorn will send back the data from their shot so that they can calibrate better and say, excellent targeting.
You got somebody good on the thumb trigger.
Here's your range data. You look like you're pulling to the left about 1 meter.
Yeah. And you then get a message coming in from the Jadeco starport, giving you clearance to dock. They give you a landing pad number, and Ching-Shi is able to cleanly set the ship down. So there are a few other ships here. As you're coming in and setting down, you see... you see a couple of things. You see a number of other ships that are clearly raider ships. They're all more or less standard designs. You see some Corsair ships that seem to be newer types of vessels. You see several ships that look like they've been pulled from a scrapyard and rebuilt. And then you see that there are also some ships that appear to be, archetypical small trade ships, small merchants. You see at least 3 other ships that are here that look to be, independent traders. It's just all very weird. To your mind, you wouldn't think that anybody would come here, because literally all of the raiders on this planet are hated by a civilization all across the Trojan Reach. But yet here is some trade ships that, whether or not they're doing actually any trade, the starport, like I said, it's a Class B starport. It looks absolutely fantastic. Part of the starport is even set up to manufacture small vessels.
Wow.
And so, Ching-Shi, you set down. The law level on this planet is next to nil. The internal security for the starport, it's about what you would expect. at most any starport. It's usually fine for you to carry around, at least a gun on your hip. But here it just doesn't seem to matter as long as you're not threatening. There are Judecca security guards around, but as you get off of your ship, you see that standing on the dock, come walking along to the pad, is clearly an Oghma raider. He seems to be wearing animal furs, and bits and pieces of different types of armor here and there. It looks a lot like some of it might be football pads, and hockey gear and things like that. He comes walking along, and as soon as you step off the ship, he says, "I'm your ride. I'll take you to see Chief Hannigan."
Cool.
Are we all going as a team?
Sure.
Or are we staying back? Just out of curiosity, what's the odds of psionics being on this station?
Pretty rare.
She's with them.
I got bad news for you, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's she, but I mean, as far as
100% everywhere you go.
as far as there's not like a Psionics Institute or anything here. I mean, Bjorn's probably a little bit nervous because now he's got the assumption that everything Judecca does is going to be psionic based, but it's not. The real purpose of General Development Corporation is they go onto a planet that is usually lower tech level, and they tell the planet, "Hey, we'll build you a really nice starport, and in return for that, you give us a percentage of the global product of the planet." Yeah, this is how they make all their money. Generally, it always seems that the contract is always skewed in Judecca's favor. There's always something. Most people in the Trojan Reach hate General Development Corporation, but most of these planets wouldn't even have a starport if it wasn't for Judecca. So, that's kind of the rub of it. Or General Development Company, rather. So this guy, I mean, it's really weird. Knowing that, it strikes you very odd as to why there's a Judecca starport here, considering that Oghma doesn't really have a global product. They don't export anything other than raiders. So, it's very strange. But
yeah, things are different now. So, maybe they can tell us what has changed when we get there.
So this guy leads you to a air raft. It is a sealed air raft. So it actually has a convertible roof on it and whatnot. And it is fairly cold here. So my question is, how are you guys dressing to meet Hannigan, the chieftain? Are you going full combat ready? What are you doing?
I was going to wear combat armor because the law level is so low and it's cold, so I figured that would probably be pretty good for both of those.
Yeah, that would work. I mean, if you want to go in full battle dress, you can, but I mean, I'm not sure what kind of message you want to send to the chief.
Although I feel like if anybody's going to respect it, it's a raider chief. Like,
true.
Who's gonna get a flex of power would be that guy. But I'm just gonna follow Captain's lead. I'll leave my battle dress at home and wear my combat armor.
Yeah, I don't want to be too threatening, but I still don't want to, be completely exposed.
Right.
So,
Yep.
seems like a good point.
Ceramic carapace is what I'm going to wear.
Okay.
Cool.
I'll wear the combat armor as well.
Okay. And then, of course, naturally, you're going to probably take knives and sidearms. Are you packing rifles? Are you packing any kind of long arms?
Yeah, I'll bring my Nova gun because it's cool.
Okay.
They'll like it.
What is this environment that we're going? I mean, are we going to have multi-100-meter planet surface stuff, or is this office building interior?
Well, what you're seeing looks like, I mean, it looks like the concourse of like an airport and a mall kind of conjoined. But you're not sure what to expect when you get to his longhouse. Now, when you look out the windows, you just see snow and ice covered landscape as far as the eye can see. You can breathe on the surface. Probably a filter mask is recommended, but I mean you can be comfortable without one for a short period of time.
Oh, well, okay. Well, so I'm going to wear my vac suit because that gives me environmental. I got full environmental on that.
That's true.
Screw that.
Yeah. I mean, you can always you should probably have some cold weather gear on the ship. I mean, you can always throw a coat on, but if you want to go in full vac suit, you can.
Yeah, it's self-sealing. I don't have to worry about air. Sounds like there's multiple environmental things to worry about.
Yeah.
So screw that.
Okay.
And, yeah, I'm going to we don't know what we're doing, so I'm going to have my long rifle, which is just a laser rifle, and I'll keep my little handheld weapons,
now,
which I have several.
And I don't remember who has the party kitty list, but I remember that Josh was asking if about a revolver. Do you guys have any more of the Sandalian officers' revolvers? I thought you picked up a couple of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. You mean the fancy one? I thought that I was the only one who had it.
Were you the only one that had it and you haven't picked up any others? I thought you'd found some additional ones.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Could be wrong.
I might be thinking that because of my future planning. But anyways. Yeah. I don't want to give away too much. So this guy leads you to this sealed air raft. And oddly enough, he's got enough manners. He actually opens up the back door. And these doors are kind of like the cloth doors on a Jeep. He opens it up and waits for you guys to get into the back seat. And
so from the back, are there, like, if we're in the back seat, are there windows?
There are.
Out?
Yeah.
To, like, be able to see where we're going?
Yes.
And is there enough space back there that someone could be hiding or anything? I mean, these guys are known for kidnapping.
No, it will seat.
Folks, and we've got an engineer and a medical officer. So.
Yeah, no, this will seat 6. So one of you will have to sit up front next to him, but that's all.
Okay.
And there's really nowhere for anybody to hide or anything like that.
Would be anybody. Okay.
Right. And so he gets in, and this air raft lifts off and speeds. He keeps a fairly low altitude. He's like maybe 10 feet off the ground, and enough that as this thing speeds off, there's like a small vortex of snow blowing up behind it. And you soon come. He goes over a large, snow drift, and you can see nestled, maybe 2 clicks away. You can see nestled what appears to be like a higher tech version of a Viking longhouse. And within a short amount of time, he pulls up and lets you guys all out and leads you into this longhouse. And it looks like this is what the interior looks like.
Ooh. Well, that's really cool.
And the outside, the outside of it looks like it has been, it looks like it's been crafted by ship hulls, but then the inside has been lined with wood. It has intricate carvings and things like that. All of the carvings that you're seeing are they look like technical symbols. Everybody make a recon plus intellect check.
Well, I got 15. I did really good.
Wow.
I got 5.
What about Bjorn?
12.
So Keith is looking in, like kind of looking around, like, oh wow, these are engineering symbols and different symbols that you would see in like a ship's drive room. The rest of you look over, and in the far corner, kind of scratching stuff into the wall, you see a man, a short, bald man, with broken glasses, and there is a spiked collar around his neck that has chains going to his wrists and to his ankles, and he's sitting there with a hand computer, scratching into the walls these symbols. And as you, the interior of this longhouse is comfortably warm. There's a large fire. There's something cooking over the fire. It's an animal this time. You don't have to you don't have to worry about the long pig. And after a short while, from behind there appears to be like a throne is the best word for it. From behind that space, there is a series of rooms behind it, and from back there, you see a large man with a braided beard and wearing furs come out. And he's got rings on every finger. He's got gold chains. He's almost Mr. T with his number of gold chains. And he comes out and he claps his hands and he says, "Excellent, excellent. I am Chief Hannigan. I am glad that you have come to speak to me about my lucrative job opportunity." And he turns to the guy that's scribbling on the wall, and he says, "Levistus, leave us." And this guy shuffles off, shackled. You can hear his chains clinking as he goes into the back room. He says, "One of my engineering slaves." He says, "Please sit." And he carves off some meat and puts it on a platter, and he's got a tankard of, he's got a jug of some kind of ale that he pours drinks for you all, and he sits down and he says, "Oh, I apologize for that close call with the railgun. I didn't want any of the other chieftains to get a hold of you. I think that the 4 of you are actually quite the commodity here on Oghma."
Oh, go on.
So he says, raiders go out, and not only do they look for technology, but those who are skilled in its use and operation. And so many of those that come back are slaves. He says, I've heard of your exploits on Borite. So you probably already know about such things, since the Borite people try to hide the fact that they can read and write. In fact, writing is banned on their world. He says, I digress. He says, I asked you here because I need somebody who is wise in the ways of such things that one might find on Theev, and how to negotiate and interact with that world. What I propose is that I will send with you 2 of my warriors, and they will have a biosecurity locked chest that the contents of which will be used to trade for technology and weapons on Theev for my clan.
All right. And what do we get in return?
He says, you will get 2 things in return. The first is that I completely understand that you do things for money. And so he says, I will pay this to you up front. And he reaches down next to his throne, reaches up and sets a lockbox on the table, and he flips the lock on it and opens it. And inside is 250,000 Imperial credits in cash. He says,
Cool.
This is yours immediately. Upon completion of this mission, he says, I understand that you are pirates. Pirates always have a need of some place to hole up. I will say that Oghma will become a haven to you. I will make sure that none of the other tribes' chieftains touch you, and you can dock at the spaceport anytime you like. You will be welcome here.
That's wonderful. Can we ask him what's happened to this place lately to make it different than it used to be, more hospitable?
Well, nothing. It's not really more hospitable. He says, when I became chieftain of this clan, I realized that sometimes we have to do things a bit differently to get what we want. The other chieftains don't always see it my way, but if you are successful, it won't matter, because my clan will be much stronger once you are successful. We'll have better weapons. As far as like things like the railgun and things like that, those are victories that I've kind of held back in my back pocket until recently, and I'm hoping to eventually come to a joining of all the tribes under my leadership. But I don't want to get ahead of myself.
All right, fair enough. I don't know if there's any objections from my crew. I think we're good to go. I'll take their warriors in the chest and take them to Theev.
And so we're agreeing to transport them to Theev and then bring them back?
Correct.
And
well, actually, you only have to transport them to Theev. Part of this is assuming that if this is successful, they'll have hired a ship to bring them back.
Okay. Are we responsible for their security on Theev?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, maybe we should tell the chief how it works there. with the widows and the law level and all that, and to make sure he still wants to do it.
Okay. Well, he, as far as being responsible for them, he tells you that he. He tells you might want to keep an eye on them so that they don't cause too many problems. He says he kind of says under his breath, he goes, they're raiders, so they immediately think of Theev as being a pirate world, and they think that anything goes. I have never been there, but I know that that's not the way situations work anywhere. It doesn't even work that way here. So you may want to keep an eye on them.
How many people did we see get killed by the widows? Like a fair amount, right?
Yeah, you saw a couple, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that may be instructive. We see any more people get murdered by him.
So you kind of tell them, what you know about Theev. Bjorn, you've never been to Theev, and until you heard these guys saying, yeah, let's go there, and them talking about it, up until that point, you were convinced, like many people are, that Theev doesn't really exist. You've heard rumors all the way back to when even before you came to the Trojan Reach, of Theev. Some speculated that Theev was actually in District 268. Some suspected that it was, in the Deneb subsector. Nobody could pinpoint where Theev really was. These guys say they have actually been there. So this is the first time that you've gotten confirmation that this place actually exists. So you're listening with as much intent as the chieftain is.
Exciting. Very exciting.
So these guys go through talking about. I assume that you're going to fill them in on the 2 laws of Theev.
Oh, well, I'm sure I will learn along with the raiders as we have our PowerPoint slides that talk
Right.
about.
Right.
During the weeks of trip,
Right.
here's how you behave on Theev.
So it's really simple.
As to what enemies or what people are opposed to this travel and that we should be wary of.
So nobody, pretty much nobody in the Sindal subsector, at the very least, are going to be happy with the idea of any Oghma Raider clan getting their hands on higher technology and weapons. I mean, nobody's going to be thrilled by that idea.
All right, so we definitely are going to have people that are going to try to stop us, and we need to figure out how to get there without having too many gun battles, because we want to make sure we have ammo the whole way.
Right.
Well, that's why I was curious about whether or not we'd have to guarantee their safety, because if they cause too much trouble, we'll just chop off a hand and open up the chest and take what's there from them. If we don't have to promise that they'll be safe, we can just face them and keep the chest to be like, we dropped them off. I mean, I don't know what happened after that.
Yeah, we dropped them off over the entire planet as we dropped their blood in the atmosphere.
You didn't think we had to land before we let them out of the ship.
Right.
Wow. The people have to be desperate to hire us.
So what he is saying is that yes, you are responsible for their safety. He seems to make it sound more like the biggest part of that responsibility is going to be keeping them out of trouble.
So we'll tell them the laws. One is no gun in the red zone.
So the 2 laws are in the upper city. The law of the lords holds sway. And essentially, what that law states is, so Theev is, for lack of a better term, run by the Lords of Theev. And what the Law of the Lords says is that you're not going to cause any problems. And if you do cause problems, the punishment is always death. And they have their security force is called the Widows. It is highly suspected that the Widows are clones of some kind. They're all highly genetically modified and have augmentations, and they seem to all be in constant contact with one another. There's some speculation as to whether the Widows are individuals or if they're one entity that kind of controls all of them. But they're all extremely efficient assassins. All female.
I want to be one when I grow up.
Yeah. So the Law of the Lords applies in the Upper City and any place where there are red flags located. In the Lower City, which is where you might run into the red flags, in the Lower City, a second law holds sway, and that's the Law of the Street. And the Law of the Street says that nobody is allowed to carry a gun that is powerful enough to pop the seals on the dome over the canyon. So Theev is basically a planet like, it's very much like Mars. Dust is a constant problem. The only city that's left on Theev, all of the other ones were bombed out or succumbed to biological plague, etc. during the fall of the Sindalian Empire. All of those other cities have fallen to ruin and are beneath the constant blowing dust. The one city that is there is Black Sand City. There are spires on the top of this cliff, and then the cliff goes down into a ravine, and the lower city is built in the ravine, and there is a transparent dome over the top of it. And so any weapon that is capable of piercing the dome is subject to somebody killing you. Aside from that, the streets take care of themselves. Much of the lower city is controlled by what they call blood gangs, and pretty much every type of deprivation available can be purchased in the lower city. There are drug dens. There's a gladiatorial ring called the Blood Pit. There's just everything that you can imagine is in the lower city. The upper city is clean and, looks as corporate as anywhere else. And all the people that are up there conducting business use a lot of euphemisms and side talk. Nobody ever admits that what they're talking about is piracy and mass murder. So those are the laws of Theev. So showing up with these two barbarians is, you might have your hands full. Now, Chief Hannigan tells you that he has already sent message to an individual on Theev that may be able to work with you. He is a black market weapons dealer and information broker named Varrock Nurgle. And he says that's really who he's planning for these guys to go see. He's not sure where to contact Nurgle, but he's sure that you guys have been to Theev, you're pirates, you know this world. He does not. And so that's your main part of your investigation on Theev. Little does he know that this is really a side trip for you, because you've got your own shit to do on Theev. So, any other questions?
like, we could leave the raiders on our ship and go make the deal and then put them on the merchandise, just so that we don't have raiders running around Theev? Like, I know it's a biometric lock, so can we set it to one of us and then make the deal ourselves?
No, he doesn't agree to that. He says his two raiders, in fact, this biometric lock on this chest requires both their thumbprints, and they have to have a heartbeat.
Okay. I mean, if I put their thumb skin over my finger, I have a heartbeat. It would still read like a pulse.
That's true. That's true.
Like those little finger condoms when you cut your finger while you're cooking.
Right.
All right. It's not the conversation.
Roll over my thumb.
We wouldn't really be talking about this in front of the guy. But
Probably not.
Stunner weapons.
Yeah, there are stunner weapons. You don't have any because nobody's bothered to purchase any less than lethal means of combat.
No, Mock, I have a stunner and stun fist.
Oh, well, okay. So Bjorn's the only pacifist in the group.
I have plenty of drugs. That's a good one.
I was gonna say, you can also trank them.
That's true.
Yeah.
A trank gun won't be strong enough to pierce the dough.
Yeah, there has been some poisoning in their past. So like you said, 250,000 up front. You can have it now, and his two warriors are ready to follow you back to your ship and leave whenever you're ready.
Let's go.
Yep.
Okay. So, first of all, out of that 250,
And psionic glass. So what's he really thinking?
I can do a check.
you can.
All right, let's read some surface thoughts. Give me a second. I got it bookmarked.
So, out of that 250,000, you guys actually walk away with 225,000 because remember, 25,000 comes off the top to go to King Oleb. And you can divide that up however you like. I don't know if you wanted to divide it by 7 again, or if you want to divide it by just the players that are here, however you want to do it.
It's like, if you get gout, sorry, you lose out.
That's the pirate motto. If you get gout, you lose out.
It rhymes and everything, so go for it.
I'm not doing any math right now. It's just gonna...
Looks like that's
what, 30?
32,150.
Yeah, 32.
32,150.
150.
Okay, thank you. All right.
And so
I need it because that null skull is expensive.
32,150 also goes into the ship fund. That's the 7th member.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so I'm going to read surface thoughts.
Okay.
Okay. And so to do that, I'm not sure. I don't know what surface thoughts is. I got 8. That's not very good. Is that going to do it?
Let me take a look.
You have to figure out the points. How much does he weigh? Be like, excuse me, sir. I can only read your mind by the pound, so...
Yeah,
His
no.
brain is
No,
very
yeah.
lightweight.
8 just gets it.
Oh my god.
It takes you 30 seconds to read his surface thoughts.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, is he being upfront? Is he presenting the goal accurately? Is he being upfront? Or is this something sneaky?
So, yeah, it appears that everything that you have stated, is reading his surface thoughts, he's on the up and up. You even...
So at least he believes the situation to be as he's presenting it.
Correct.
Not that something wouldn't necessarily come up, but he is not figuring out a way to enslave a world-renowned doctor, an engineer,
No.
an investigator.
No. He appears to be on the complete up and up. And probably the most overriding thought in this is excitement of seeing his plan start to go into action, and the thought that this is going to put his clan way above the top.
Okay.
You also detect, and it's hard to describe thoughts without describing emotion, because that's an empathy kind of thing. But there is a fearful thought, but it is not sitting on the surface. It's sitting deeper in his mind, but you're still getting the sense of it being there, but you can't tap what it is.
Okay. Well, it seems like it's on the up and up as much as we can get to it. So.
Yeah, see, the more that Qingxi is useful with that psionics, maybe Bjorn will come around and... Yeah, it's not so bad.
Well, I don't mind doing it on others. I want my null skull. I want my brain locked away.
You want it protected.
Yep.
So, you take your money. I don't know if you want to count it at the table and divvy it up, but you take your money, and the raider that was driving leads you back out, or he's waiting outside, loads you into the air car, and you see that there's another air car that has pulled up behind him. This model has a gimbal-mounted machine gun, so it'll only seat 5. However, it'll only seat 3 because the 2 back seats have been taken out, and it's kind of almost like a flatbed. And in there is this large chest-like container, and you can see that it has 2 biometric thumb scanners and a readout on it, and it is locked up. But it's big. It's like the size of my gaming table, big. And it's already in the back of the truck, and you see these 2 idiots sitting there, and they see you come out, and they're like, yeah, woo, woo, and one of them downs a beer and crushes it on his forehead and throws it in the snow. That's the type of individuals that you're going to be dealing with.
Yeah. Road trip.
Yeah. Like, between the 2 of them, there's like maybe 6 teeth, Yeah. Those guys. There's a big flag hanging off the back of the truck, that kind of thing. So the 2 air rafts speed towards, back towards the port, and the truck behind you, every once in a while, the guy who's in the passenger seat swings the gimbal around and lets off 40 rounds from what, for all intents and purposes, it looks like a Browning 50 cal, off into some snowdrift. And then it's like, woo, and then downs another beer. And yeah, pretty much. And so these 2 air rafts take off toward the port. And as you pull into the port, the white zone is for loading and unloading only. And the air raft kind of pulls around, and these 2 guys get out. You see Jadeco security kind of, the Jadeco security guards all have submachine guns. They kind of grip them a little bit tighter as these raiders pull up, but they're aware, they're alert, but they're not actively aggressive. And these 2 guys reach in the back and pull out this chest and ask, for you to lead them to your ship.
Can we put them in low bursts?
Well, next to the cows.
I believe you could. Let me.
She's like, man, you partied so hard this whole time.
You need a couple weeks of rest.
You got super dehydrated, so we just let you sleep it off for 2 weeks.
So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to stuff or drug them thing open in the first bit of travel, but not let them know it. We're just going to have it pop that lock, and then we're going to stick some chewing gum under it so that it doesn't look any different. Then, when they get to the planet, we're going to stick in their back pocket or something like that weapons that will destroy the dome. And we're going to let them loose. And then we can do whatever we want because they'll be executed and we'll have our loot. We could go ahead and complete the mission for the guy and then, say, hey, we carried this through if we want to actually go back and talk to that Viking guy, or we could buy the cool weapons like the guy, and during transport back, just not get there. Keep all the weapons.
We don't know what happened to them.
So you do have low berths, quite a few of them, in your ship.
Are they all full of cows?
No, because the Awua require larger berths. They're they're in better units. They're in actual cryo units rather than low berths. Low berths, when you put somebody in, it's a roll of the dice, literally, on whether they're going to survive when they come out.
Yeah, but we got the best in the biz.
Yeah, you've got the best doctor in all of the sectors. So,
but can we get their thumb and a heartbeat while they're knocked out?
Well, yeah. So, I don't know. That is entirely up to you guys if that's the route you want to go. But if things don't work out and these guys are dead and you walk away with whatever's in this crate, Oghma could become a problem for you in the future.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Stabilize Oghma.
And just out of curiosity, what is the odds that he sent these two losers over there and inside this is a planet-busting bomb?
That's what I want to know is it a weapon? Because we tend to be pirates of hearts with hearts of gold for the little guy. So if this is some sort of horrible, planet-killing thing, maybe we should know.
Because if he sent two disposable people to go do this high-stakes thing, it doesn't smell right.
So
we had these thoughts about his tribe becoming dominant or whatever. How would that help him if he blew up Theev?
He might be blowing it up for somebody else.
Then whoever he's agreed to trade with would have the ability to take out a planet. I'm wondering if that.
So these
not that he would take out Theev, but if he's trading with I don't know who, then what power does that give them?
These guys have a little bit more information about Theev that might put to rest some of your suspicions. So the first thing that they know about Theev is that way back, General Development Company invested a lot of money into the infrastructure of Theev. And still seems to have a targeted interest in Theev itself. Jadeko is still a thing. They maintain excuse me, they maintain the spaceport there, although Jadeko is not in control of the spaceport. But Theev is still an economic interest to them, even though it has no real export. The second thing that they know is that they know who one of the Lords of Theev is. Well, I take that back. They know who two of the Lords of Theev are. Three, actually. They know three Lords of Theev. And the biggest one is an admiral named Admiral Dorokin, who is known for having left the Third Imperium. His flotilla of ships followed him and he became a gentleman pirate throughout the Trojan Reach. And the Third Imperium is oh so angry with Admiral Dorokin. What these guys know is that on Dorokin's flagship, in a computer in his stateroom, is information implying that Dorokin is actually an Imperial spy that has infiltrated Theev.
Cool.
As to, they don't have the proof because they haven't been on his flagship, but they know, they've been told that it's there. As to what is going on, as far as why he's there, what he's spying on, nobody really knows. But it is questionable because Theev, and I'll show you the map. Here's the questionable part. As soon as I find it, there it is. So on this map, zoom in so I don't go blind. So here is Theev. And let's see, 1, 2, 3 parsecs away is Rilgar. Now, Rilgar is a that's an Imperial naval base. So the question has to be, how is it that Theev has been untouched by the Imperial Navy if Dorokin is such a wanted man?
Huh.
That's one of the big questions. So the suspicion is, of course, that he really is a spy, and these guys haven't really done anything about it. But when they put an end to Ferric Redthane, Dorokin had asked them to not return to Theev for a year. Well, the year is up, and you guys can return anytime you'd like. So, door's open for you. So, the other part of this is that once the crate is on your ship, if you would like, you can use sensors to scan it. If you're worried about radiological weapons.
That sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, go for it, Bjorn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, Bjorn, go ahead and make a electronic sensors plus intellect or education check.
All right. Looks like 13 was rolled.
So on a 13, you don't get back anything that looks like a bomb. However, what does come back in the radiological spectrum looks an awful lot like platinum.
Okay.
That's all that's coming back on your sensors.
All right. And how's the weight of this? What is the effective density? Is that commensurate with platinum?
So they commensurate. So the one thing that you did note, these guys didn't carry this crate, between the two of them. It has grav lifters on the bottom of the plate, on the bottom of the crate. You're estimating this is heavy enough that this crate must be full of platinum ingots.
Okay. All right. Everything seems to say it's just full of metal.
Looking at the weight, you're estimating that there's probably close to 10 mega credits worth of platinum ingots in here.
Man, I could get my null skull.
So, let's see. You are going from Oghma to Theev. So your fastest route would be Oghma to Noricum. You could refuel at the gas giant if you like. And then make a jump to the deep space refueling station here, and then from here to Theev. So you're talking about 3.5 weeks.
And where would we refuel?
There is a
Palindrome?
There is a secret refueling station on the way to Theev in this blank square.
Gotcha. All right.
So yeah, you're with refuel time, you're talking about 3.5 weeks. So, Ching Shi, go ahead and make an astrogation plus intellect or education check.
14.
Okay.
For us.
Okay. And make a piloting plus dex check.
13.
Okay. And Keith Clark, make a engineering J drive plus intellect or education check.
11.
Okay. So you guys make your jump from Oghma and are headed towards Noricum. Is there now, being on the bridge, Bjorn, the only part of this plan that kind of bothers you is this jump from Noricum into deep space with nothing there. But these guys are promising you that there is a pirate refueling station there.
That's okay, because with a jump of only 1 parsec or whatever these hexes are, we have enough fuel to turn around and jump back.
You could jump back to Noricum, right. And so you spend a week in drive space with these two idiots, and they basically spend they spend half the week drinking their booze that they brought with them, and then the other half the week trying to beg booze off of you to drink. They're pretty much lit just pretty much the entire time.
I'm going to continue to scan that chest that's full of platinum to see if there's electronics built into it. So what I'm worried about is once we open it, if there's a timer or something, or if it sends a signal that says I've been opened.
So on that 13 sensors check, you did detect it is a biometric, a 2-factor biometric lock. The biometrics actually match an ECG to the individual's thumbprint. Now, not that an ECG is really like a fingerprint, but if you know anything about ECGs, they are pretty specific. They can be tied to other things. So it is a fairly good way of locking this or unlocking this chest and requiring that these two be alive.
I'm not worried about unlocking it, especially if it's just loaded with platinum, because we can put the thing in a smelter and melt the whole damn thing down.
Right.
And recover the platinum.
Beyond the electronic lock, you're not seeing any other electronics other than the grav boosters on the bottom.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any little explosives built into the box or...
No.
It's kind of strange. You would think that someone with a circular saw could bypass a fancy-dancy lock like that.
Yeah.
Something's weird.
So,
okay.
You guys get to Noricum. Ching Shi, as soon as she's back, give us just a moment here.
And the box itself is not what we're secretly transporting. It doesn't have like microscopic hidden data in it on how to defeat the Imperial Navy.
No.
Is anybody paranoid here besides me?
It's got a third biometric factor. It's got Windows Hello built into the lock screen. So it's never going to open.
The last time we dealt with Oghma raiders, they weren't very smart. So I know I'm not very paranoid. I don't think that they could pull off anything too tricky.
Yeah,
they're throw this crate into an ironworks smelter and bypass all this. This is just crazy.
Yeah,
they're really stupid.
Yeah, they're not the smartest individuals. So Oghma, when it was hit during the Sindalian Empire, they actually had a bit more of a protracted fight beyond just the orbital bombardment. And the Sindalians' solution to putting the problem of Oghma down was to literally kill off all of their scientists and engineers and anybody that could make weapons or repair ships. And so they thought that they had, taken care of the problem. Oghmans later, they fragmented into these tribes. They still had the ability to build small ships. And their solution to fixing that problem was to enslave people from other worlds that knew engineering and whatnot. I mean, if you could read, that was enough. They figured, you can at least read the tech manuals and get through it. So Oghma's not high on the intelligence quotient as a people.
So team members, do we care? What do we want to happen on Oghma? Do we not care?
Things go smoothly, and failing that, oh well, whatever.
Well, I mean, with your past dealings with Oghma raiders, it may not be a bad idea for the tribes to join under Chief Hannigan. Or
Chief Hannigan's one of the non-cannibals, right?
Right.
So that'd be good.
Okay. All right. So we want to support this action. We don't want to secretly call the people that put down Oghma before and say, "Hey, we've got a chance here to."
Yeah, as far as Hannigan goes, as far as Oghma raiders that you've met in the past, at least you can deal with Hannigan. That's an upside.
All right, so we want this to work.
So, Ching Shi, for frontier refueling at the gas giant, make a piloting plus dex check.
Nine.
So, it was a little bit of a rough go.
Everybody. So sweet, you had your trays in the upright and locked position. Put on your own mask before you help others. Sorry.
So, let's see. The ship actually takes 7 points of damage directly to the hull, but beyond that, Qingxi is able to refuel, and Qingxi make an astrogation check. I think that's the first time that Qingxi's really screwed up a frontier refueling.
Yeah, it's amazing when you roll that low. For astrogation, 11.
Okay. And Bjorn, go ahead, or not Bjorn, sorry. Keith Clark, go ahead and make a engineering J-drive check.
That is a 9.
Okay. Yeah. So the ship jumps, and at the end of another week, these two guys are now starting to be grouchy assholes during this week, because now they're either out of their own booze and you haven't given them any, or you can give them some to quiet them down. That's up to you. But
they can have their booze when they finish their homework.
And they've watched their way entirely through our entire porn library.
Yes, yeah, the porn library is exhausted. It's not really that good of porn anyways. It's all the way back. It's 2,000 years old, so I mean, But the ship at the end of the week comes out of jump space into blackness. Bjorn, these guys kind of know the general direction. Bjorn, you can make an electronics sensors plus intellect or education, and you can make that with a boon. So roll 3 and take the 2 highest.
Okay, let's see. Click on boon and then click on sensors. And then submit, and badango! I got a 13.
Okay. So, indeed, you are able to find this. From this distance, it looks like a small speck. You are at very long range, so this is like 50,000 kilometers out, but you are able to see that there is what appears to be a small automated refueling station. And Qingxi brings the ship over to the refueling station. Qingxi, make a piloting plus dex check.
It's 9 again.
Okay.
Which,
well, that's
nine
fine.
is a bad word, but luckily I was muted.
9 is okay because you're just docking. And so as you get closer, Bjorn, you're able to make out that there is another ship docked here. It is a fairly large vessel.
We talk about docking, and I'm thinking of the Galaxy Quest when they're pulling the ship out. Or no, it wasn't. It was the Star Trek.
Yeah, where he scrapes it.
When they're scraped along the side of the...
Yeah. That was new paint.
Was that Galaxy Quest? What was...
I think that was Enterprise.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
when they first pull the NX out, he scrapes the paint.
That's what it was, yep.
Galaxy Quest did it too, though. But theirs was way longer. It was like, scream for like a good 2 minutes.
That's if you roll a 6.
Right. Where is this? So the shit there... No. No. So there it is. The ship that comes up on your sensors, Bjorn... I got to see if I have this.
Oh, I wanted to give you props for the visual aid on the Viking longhouse. That was nice.
Yeah, it took me a while to find something that was suitable. Let's see here. I thought for sure I had this. Maybe under P.
Oh, there's a planet called number 1. That's where Riker is.
Yeah.
Descendants.
So this is the ship that you see docked with the automated station. This is a 1,200-ton Halahaki class pocket warship. This is an Aslan ship, and it comes up in your library computer that the Halahaki, it's a so-called pocket warship, 1,200-ton spacecraft used by smaller clans for military operations. The Halahaki is heavily armed for its size with a range of missile racks, lasers, and particle beams, and carries a small fighter complement of 10 fighters and 2 launches for boarding actions and customs inspections. Some owners convert the cargo bay to hold troops, or some 200 low berths, allowing the Halahaki to serve as a troop transport. It's noted that the design is known for maintenance issues and jump drive failures, but the vessel's main problem is that it tries to do too many things in one package, requiring it to be the most advanced Aslan technology in order to just function. So this pocket warship doesn't have a very good reputation as far as the class of vessel goes. You are pinging it. Hold on just a moment. I have it here somewhere. There it is. You are pinging this ship as the Cat's Paw. I believe Beth, Keith Clark, and Ching Shi would know that the Cat's Paw is the flagship. Is it the Cat's Paw? Hold on. I might have that wrong. I don't think it's wrong, but I want to double check. You have run into this pocket warship before. When you ran into it when it tried to attack the treasure ship at Exie, and you barely made it away. I'm sorry. No, it is not the Cat's Paw. It is the Meat Grinder. This is the flagship of the Aslan pirate Hroll Irontooth.
Oh, yeah, okay. Mm.
Now we have two databases. One we took off of the Psionic Institute, but before that we ripped data from the ice.
Right, from Katora.
And that was an Aslan database. So I don't know if I'm asking a question. I'm just reviewing.
So his information wouldn't show up in the Katora Aslan database. Most of the stuff that you pulled off Katora was directly related to the proxy war that was going on down in the Herae. But these guys, the ship's transponder tells you that's the Meat Grinder, and there is some library information. The warning comes up in your sensor logs that this is a known pirate vessel, and it's way bigger than you guys. It's 1,200 tons. And your
Is it about our new ship, or? I don't know.
Well, your comms come alive, and you're being hailed from the Meat Grinder.
Captain, we're being hailed.
All right.
Put it on the screen.
Yeah, put it up.
All right, we'll put it up.
So the message comes in wanting to know who you are, what your purpose here is at this refueling facility. This is only for use by members of the Lord's Council going to Theev.
We're going to Theev, jabroni.
You see two fighters launch from the Halahaki, and
really? We're telling the truth.
They're coming up They're coming up like on an escort pattern alongside your ship, and the voice on the comm says, "You will not deviate from your course. You're to orbit the docks, or you are to orbit the fuel station until I'm able to confer with my captain."
10-4, or something they would actually know.
Right.
Agreed, I guess.
So you guys wait probably a good 20 minutes moving around the station with these two fighters sticking with you the entire time. And finally, the comm comes alive and you hear, "What is your business here?"
We gotta upgrade the ship. We got some merchandise to unload.
We need fuel.
Express from Oghma that want to make a deal with somebody on Theev or something.
Well, we're not talking about Theev, right? We're talking about the fueling station.
Right.
Right.
So we just want to say we're pulling up to the gas station because we need gas. I didn't realize this was an invitation only gas station. We don't have our pack pride cards, but like, come on now. We just need fuel.
The voice on the other end it says, if I remember correctly, you were not to return to Theev for a year after your last actions involving the death of Ferric Redthane. We all saw the Transverge news. We all saw the TNS news broadcast that he was spaced.
It was like 14 months ago.
Close, yeah. Make a persuasion plus charm check.
Yeah, we bought this ship off these other losers. I don't know who you're talking about.
I just want some gas and a Slim Jim. Maybe use the bathroom. I'll carry the great big bobcat key.
Maybe a couple of lot lizards to go.
Yeah, we're good. It's fine. Okay, I'm doing persuasion.
Yes.
Let's see, my persuasion. I only have +1.
Yeah, me too.
Anybody else chime in and be more charming than me?
I think you should get like a +4 or something like that if you have a gun pointed to their head.
Well, it's for comms. Okay.
You can either make it with charm or social, whichever you decide is higher.
Okay. Charm or social. That would be mine. Social. Okay. Oh, we guys have to turn back. Because I got 7.
And the next intergalactic war kicks on.
Everybody just real discreetly put your seatbelts on.
He says,
I'm going to roll. I'm over here in the back. Nobody's paying attention. So I'm doing the astrogation and setting everything up to get back to Norcom.
Okay. So Bjorn, go ahead and make an astrogation check. Astrogation plus your choice, intellect or education.
Yeah, we can be flashing each other the symbols like they do, dude. Like, be ready to get the fuck out.
Yes.
So Bjorn's.
I got a 10 because I'm hurrying.
Bjorn's calculating, astrogation and plotting a course. And over the comm you hear. So I ask you again, what is your business on Theev? What could be so important that outcasts such as yourself with no honor would come back to the pirate world?
How did they know we're going to Theev?
Because that's the only place that you would be going if you knew where this fuel depot was. There's only one other place that you would be going.
But we could go to Palindrome.
Yeah, but nobody that would be going to Palindrome would know about a secret pirate fuel depot.
Or we could be going to Norcom, coming the other way. I mean, you just sort of pop out of space. They can't tell you.
What are you talking about?
I'm going to tell them I heard there was a really big sale on honor on Theev.
Wow.
I have a 5-month-old infant that needs to meet her daddy.
Oh, man.
No,
you don't say that.
No, I won't say that.
Be really careful.
Prove it.
I mean, you could just tell them you're there to broker an arms deal. I mean...
Yeah, we're there to broker an arms deal. We got some shit we need to get rid of, and we need to upgrade stuff.
Designed to search us.
Yeah.
We have some cows. If you want some cows, you can have some cows.
Have you heard about the virulent space mange that affects only Aslans? Because that's been going around, and I'd be really careful if you guys want to come on board this ship here, because we haven't been deloused.
So, Captain Beth, go ahead and make a persuasion, and it's your choice, either charm or social.
Okay, not too bad. 11.
Okay. He says, oh, brokering an arms deal, that's a little bit more your style, outcast. You're allowed to dock. Don't overstay your welcome.
All right, cool.
And he says he will be inside. There is a small liquor cabinet and wet bar inside if any of you wish to join me in an honorable toast.
I'll join you.
Don't let the Raiders know. Keep them on the ship somehow.
Right. So, Ching-Chi, you were able to pull up and you dock. And the automated systems automatically connect fuel nozzles, and you'll be able to be refueled in a couple of hours. Exactly. Well, a couple of hours. Exactly. About 20 hours is what it'll take to refuel. And you're all able to go on board this small station if you'd like.
Can we give a bottle of our booze to the Raiders and then lock them in their quarters with a bottle of booze?
You certainly could do that. You could do that, yes. In fact,
hey guys.
So don't forget, you've got additional crew members on board. You could lock them, in a room, and your new crew members can stand guard.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm all about, throw some Funyuns, and a couple of 40s.
A couple of 40s.
And comfort. I don't want them to hate their lives. I don't want them to feel like prisoners. I just want them to be so occupied that they don't fuck things up while we're with the obnoxious secret gas station attendant.
Right. So, yeah, you guys are able to throw these guys in there with a bottle of booze and some Cheetos and lock the door. And you, as your ship is refueling, you come up into the station. As soon as you step out of the airlock into the station, there is, for all intents and purposes, it looks like the digital readout of a self-pump gas pump. And it says, that credits will be due upon completion of pumping.
That's what she said.
And then there's this a walkway into the central hub of this station. It's kind of round with 10 spokes coming off of it, and each spoke a ship can dock at. And in the center, there is a small bar that looks like it is usually unmanned. And when you walk in, you see, sitting at a table, you see a gorilla that looks like... I don't know if I put him in here, actually. You see a gorilla that is smoking a cigar and has a cybernetic left arm and has a mug of beer in front of him. And when you walk in, he looks up and he goes, "Hey, Horo, I guess they came in to take you up on your offer, huh?" And he goes back to chewing and smoking his cigar. And at the bar, you see a 8-foot-tall Aslan wearing what looks like a dirty and partially tore up, 18th century admiral's coat. And when he turns around, you see that his lower jaw has actually been replaced by a robotic enhancement. This is Hroll Irontooth. And as you come in, he slides a bottle of whiskey down the bar and he says, "Drink up. It's going to be your celebration for coming back to Theev." Now,
thank you.
These guys suspect that Hroll Irontooth is actually one of the lords of Theev. So do you have anything that you want to say or question him about, or...
Did anything huge happen while we were unable to go to Theev?
That is a very good question. So he tells you, he says, "Oh, nothing has really happened much in the last year." He says, he's still, it still stings that you won out on the treasure ship. He says, "I bet that was worth a lot." He says the other piece of information that he tells you is that there is a flotilla, or that they have information that an Imperial flotilla is going to be moving through the Trojan Reach, kind of in a flag-waving ceremony kind of thing. This is not unusual. These flotillas come through every now and again. They make a show of hunting pirates, and then to show that they're doing a good job, and then leave. He says that this one seems that it's probably going to be a little bit different. He says that the information that he's heard is that the captain of this flotilla in the lead ship is known, he is a young nobleman that is out to make his mark. So he says, Hroll Irontooth tells you that if you run across any Imperial entanglements, beware, because this guy's going to try and bring back every single person he can find that's a pirate in shackles.
Oh, young nobleman. We have one of those.
Hroll Irontooth says, "Really? So what do you intend to do with this nobleman?"
I'm not really sure yet.
He says,
we haven't forgotten to feed him, have we? Like,
no,
thought about it for a while.
No, your robot's been taking care of him.
Okay, good.
He says, well, I mean, if you don't have any plans for this nobleman, I would be willing to take that problem off your hands. Perhaps as a gesture of goodwill for interrupting my take on the Imperial treasure ship.
You know what? Sure. Let's march him out here. I don't want to deal with that.
So he tells the gorilla, he tells the gorilla that who is captain of a ship called the Monkey's Paw. He tells the gorilla, he says, "Yeah, go escort that nobleman off their ship and have him transferred over to the meat grinder." And the gorilla's like, "Okay," and gets up, and before he goes into the gangplank, he turns around and goes, you don't mind if I smoke my cigar on your ship, do you?"
No, go ahead. It's cool.
And so
Bjorn's going with him because he wants to learn all about this robot arm and ask him where he got it and how it works.
So the gorilla tells you he got his cybernetic arm. He tells you that actually Hroll Irontooth fronted the money to have his arm replaced after he lost it in a pirate raid.
Yeah. So where'd he get it, and does it work well? And because I was thinking of maybe doing it myself.
So it doesn't look that great. I mean, it looks like pistons and gears, and there's no skin on it. It's just a bare metal robot arm. He tells you that he got it down in the lower city. He says, if you go to Tux, there's an alleyway, there's a noodle shop, and then, around the corner, you'll find this small place with a neon lit barber's pole out front. You can't miss it. Go in there and they'll set you up. He's like, not the cleanest place, but they do good work.
And that's here at the secret refueling station?
No, it's on Theev in the lower city.
On Theev. Okay, good.
So you guys that are drinking with Hroll Irontooth, make a hold on a sec, I gotta look at a sheet. Sorry, my brain's all fuzzy tonight. Let's see here. Here we go. Make an athletics, endurance, or just endurance check. Whoever's drinking with Hroll Irontooth.
I got a 10.
Nice.
11.
11, actually. I didn't ask the point.
I got 11.
Okay.
I'm hammered.
So, Ching Shi's, what'd you get, Ching Shi?
6.
So, Ching Shi's getting a little tipsy. She's not blitzed, but she's not keeping up as well as the rest of you are. But basically, you hang out. You see Bjorn and the ape come back with this nobleman, and the ape has put duct tape over the nobleman's mouth because he didn't want to listen to it. And
Did he use medium? That's all he can stand.
so you see the ape lead him off down another gangplank towards the meat grinder. And you basically eat and drink for the next 20 hours with Hroll Irontooth. All of you make a raw social check.
9.
11.
There's another 9. Okay.
9.
So all of you, the 20 hours is up. The bill comes back for you hear over the comms. The fuel bill for Capri Sun is 700 credits, and Hroll Irontooth gets up as soon as he hears that call, and he says, "Well, it seems that your time here is done." He says, "I can see that Varric Nurgle was right about you." He says, "I will be seeing you on Theev," and he turns around and he leaves for his ship.
Ooh, Nurgle already talked to him, huh?
About you guys specifically, evidently.
We're being watched.
So, Ching Shi, go ahead and make another astrogation check. And you're at a Bane because you're tipsy.
Wait, I'm sorry, I missed that.
You're at a Bane because you're tipsy. So roll 3 and take the 2 lowest.
Yeah. Great. Sorry if I landed in a star. So it's astrogation and intellect?
Correct.
8.
Yeah, you still made it. So she sets a course for Theev and make a piloting plus dex check with a Bane.
What's against what? 10.
Shit. She's like me when I drink and play Elite. She pulls away from the dock, no problem. Sets course. And Keith Clark, after about 10 hours, you can go ahead and make a engineering J drive plus intellect or education check.
11.
Nice. You guys spend another week in jump space. The two guys locked in the room are bitching loud enough that you can actually hear whispered murmurings through the bulkhead whenever you walk by their room. Other than that, they don't bother you much. And so you, after a week, you come out of jump space in Theev. And Theev, you attempt to send the same code. So orbiting Theev is a artificial satellite. It's actually a small moon that the pirates have moved into an orbital pattern around Theev, and they actually have thrusters in this moon to keep it in the same orbit. If it had settled into a natural orbit, the elliptical around the planet wouldn't have been much use. So they keep it in this basically perfect circle around Theev. The moon, because of how it has been carved out into this, it is a high port. The way it's been carved out, it looks like a skull, and so it is called the Skull. This is where all of their shipbuilding and ship upgrades and things like that happen. The code that you originally used to land on Theev was given to you by Kirsch, the Vargur, is no longer valid. He has been removed. So your only option at this point is to dock with the Skull and then take a planetary shuttle down to the surface of Theev. If you try to land on Theev, you are warned. They will shoot to kill.
So
Okay, let's start with the Skull.
how do we not tie ourselves to these two raiders? I mean, I want them to succeed, but if they go down in flames, I don't want our ship and us to end up impounded. And
True. I mean, you could just be honest. Just tell them you're escorting these two guys, that they hired you to do a job. And
yeah,
they're probably going to, Theev this is not an uncommon occurrence on Theev. They'll take you at your word for it.
okay.
So you dock. Ching-Shi, make one more piloting plus dex check. You're not at a Bane anymore because it's been a week.
It's been a week, so
Yes.
so let's go with that, right?
Yes.
14.
Okay. So she brings the ship into this large bay that would be the grinning mouth of this skull. And inside, you can see that there are numerous docking berths, and there is actually a zero-G like scaffolding built to either construct ships or to upgrade them. Let me find... Let's see here. Maybe it's under T. Here. Interesting. That is not what I want. In fact, that's so bad I'm going to delete it. Or maybe not. There we go. Delete item. So anyways, I thought I had stats, but I don't. So the Harrier comes in, and the dockmaster wants to know, so where are you going to park this thing, Ching-Shi? Do you want to park it for ship upgrades, or do you want to just park it and take an orbital shuttle down to the planet?
Well, Captain,
I believe one ship upgrades.
So you're interested in upgrades?
I believe so. Yeah.
So I have a recommendation, if you would like to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
My recommendation, and let me see what this would cost. Triple turret. So what my recommendation is right now, the Harrier has a single turret that is dorsal mounted that has a single missile rack in it. My recommendation would be to upgrade that to a triple turret with 3 missile racks.
Wait, is the Capri Sun? Or...
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So a triple turret would cost you 1 mega credit, and missile racks, 2 additional missile racks would cost. Those are missiles themselves. Yeah. A missile rack is 0.75 mega credits each. So essentially for 200 or 2.5 mega credits, you could upgrade that turret to a triple turret with 3 missile racks.
I have the money to do it.
Okay.
So does that mean that then in our next combat, once it's done, we can launch 3 shots at once?
Yep, you can launch 3 missiles at once.
3 missiles in a turn. Okay.
And that's way better than 1. And then they ask you, what kind of missiles would you like? And he says, do you want just standard missiles? Those run 250,000 for per rack. We've got nuclear for 450,000 per rack.
What do you guys think?
He says, if you want to get really serious, you could load them with multi-warhead missiles. Those are 750,000 per rack.
We'll go with the regular nukes. That's fine.
Just nukes. So 450 times 3 for nukes. I have to brain.
1350.
Yep, so that would be another 1.35 mega credits.
Okay.
Holy shit.
So you're up to what? 4.5 mega credits total to do this. But that would give you much more punching power.
Yeah, that looks like a good deal to me.
And nuclear missiles do 6D damage per shot or per hit.
That's great.
So if all 3 of those missiles hit, that would be 6D plus 2 for damage. So not including the effect. So yeah, you guys set up. You dock into this overhead hangar, and they are ready to do work on the ship. And you guys take a shuttle down to the surface, and we will pick up there next week at 7:00.
Awesome. Yay.
All right. I will see you guys next Wednesday. Have a good one.
Yeah,
All right. Thanks, you too.